I really feel like today's episode has the power to be game changing. And all the episodes I feel like are good. I'm clearly biased and they serve their role, but there's just every now and then we get these episodes that I just feel like are right on time. Especially with everything we got going on in our world. I mean, it's been a crazy year, and this episode is 100% inspired by the George Floyd situation. So sit back and relax. I think this is going to be a good one.
The Creator Podcast.
My name is Dion Williams, aka Dion Does, and I truly believe that we were all created in the image of the ultimate creator, and therefore it's in us all to create. And this show aims to help you and I both level up in this four-dimensional game of life so that we can go out and create for good, whether that's for ourselves, our family, the community around us, but all of this a part of a generational vision of a family of creators coming together to be the difference. Creator family. How's it going? How's your mama? Hope you guys are blessed. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Creator Podcast. This one's going to be a little bit different. Not too much, but a little bit different. So if this is your first episode, definitely check your boy out. This is a daily podcast, by the way. Now, I might let this episode breathe for a little bit because I'll be sending a lot of people here, and I want it to be easy to find. So there might be a few days, possibly up to a week before a new episode drops. But again, if you're brand new, we got a bunch. Check them out. And they're good, man. They're good. They're just not like this because there's going to be a bit of a mini rant or two, I'm sure. But it's all going to be built around a principle. And so how I like to do things here is we'll have a principle that we want to focus on. And just like the intro says, this is coming from the perspective of a creator, the identity of a creator. Now, I know we all identify with a lot of things. We're going to be talking about race today. So some of us identify as black, as white. Some of us identify as an athlete, as an entrepreneur, as whatever, right? We love labels. I truly believe that there's no identity that will serve you more than that of a creator. And so we're going to look at it as from that perspective. Someone that looks at the world and says, man, I have the ability to create. I have the ability to create change in my life, in the world around me, right? Instead of, some of the other labels or identities that we like to assume. I think you have other good options, none as good as that of a creator. Some of us might choose to identify as a victim. We see a lot of that going on right now, and rightfully so. There are people that are legitimate victims of evil. I believe George Floyd was a victim. And sometimes when the people around us, or we see so many things that just aren't right, or like this situation, just flat out evil, it's really easy for us to become a victim. And again, I can understand that. I just don't think that serves you very well, because often we're pushing blame and responsibility other places, even when it's justified. But that kind of immobilizes. That keeps us where we're at, and it's really hard to grow and progress and change from there. Some people have the identity of a fighter or a warrior or an overcomer. And I think a lot of these have a lot of good pros to them. They're good, but they're not as good as a creator, right? All of life doesn't have to be a fight. Sometimes we don't actually want to fight through things, but some of us have grown up in times. I think that was something I had for a while too, is I felt like growing up, my mom and my younger brother, we were in a situation where we just always had to fight for stuff, right? Fight to be happy, fight to eat. It was just always, and I don't mean physically fighting necessarily, just the struggle of life, right? And so the principle today, and every other principle that we talk about on this podcast, comes from that perspective. So keep that in mind. And sometimes I'll get to the principle halfway through. We'll tell some stories. We'll have fun. But I want to start with the principle for sure today. And I want to get really clear on my points. And then I'm going to say a lot of different things. But I wanted to be clear that all of that is in the context of those points and the principle that I'm trying to get across. All right? So our principle today comes to us via Mr. John F. Kennedy, who says, too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. I'm going to run that back for you one more time because those are some wise words. It might have missed you. Too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. And I think that principle probably summarizes my emotions pretty well, because I'll get into another point that I want to be clear on. I think the murder of Mr. Floyd was just flat out evil. That's the best word I have to describe it. I think it's wrong. It shouldn't happen. And none of us want to see anything like that. Not many of us want to live in a world where stuff like that is happening. It's wrong. And I think most of you guys agree with that. Like 99.9% of what I've been seeing is that's the message. We're not really debating over that. I think there's a lot of differences though on what exactly needs to be done. And I think that's where I disagree with a lot of people. I definitely think I disagree with the majority, at least the vocal majority that you might see online. And that's why I let this breathe for a little bit. I didn't want to rush a response because I was just as emotional as everyone else, right? The people that are out there rioting and looting, like I share your same anger and frustration. I'm with you on that. But boy, oh boy, do I disagree with the idea of rioting and looting. I don't think that's a solution at all. Like not even a little bit. I think it actually does a lot more harm than good. But again, although I understand it, I just don't think it helped our case at all. So when we're talking about people enjoying the comfort of an opinion, but that's without the discomfort of thought, that it's almost summarized with just this lack of visionary thinking. Everyone is moving very short-sighted. And that's where I think if we could just understand, play a little bit of chess instead of checkers, we could see some of the issues with how responding like that doesn't help the situation. And my whole hot take is I genuinely don't know if I'm more frustrated about the evil that happened with the murder or the evil, again, still evil, that followed after the murder. And a lot of people like to zoom in on the actual action and say, yeah, well, I just stole the TV. That ain't equivalent to killing someone. And you're right. I'm actually more concerned, though, with the heart of both of the matters, because we do a lot of deflecting, and we'll be quick with our words, and we'll say things that really cover up the intentions. And that's where I think the solution really needs to be, is at a heart level. Racism isn't an issue with laws, although I think we need to be very mindful and careful and even progressive with some of the laws that we have and try to make sure that they're fair and just. I'm not saying none of that needs to be in place. That's good. And I like people that put focus there. But the true issue with racism or any other evil of the world is that of a heart. It's a heart issue. And I don't mean a heart literally. I mean the spirit, the mindset behind it, the beliefs that people hold. And unfortunately, that is not an easy answer. And this will probably be titled something along the lines of difficult answers or hard answers, because that's what I think this comes down to, is that sometimes we need to be okay with looking for and doing our best to execute some of the difficult answers. Everything doesn't have an easy answer. Everything can't be generalized. I don't know why this is a news flash to some people, but all cops aren't bad. And actually, I'd even venture to say there's way more good cops than there is bad cops. But there's this generalization that, man, fluff the police. I was literally on Twitter. I saw a video that's going viral of this woman just shouting at this police officer. He's short. And I ain't gonna lie, she was roasting this boy's socks off. Like she was flaming my guy about him being short and he shouldn't be on the police force. Some of y'all have probably seen it. You could probably find it. And I'm not lying. I'm gonna be honest. She was roasting my guy. Some of y'all might even find it funny. It was a good roast too. But that's completely unwarranted. And she's projecting her anger at what happened from a police officer onto all police officers. We can't do that. And I'm speaking to black people directly right here, because we hate that when we're generalized. Right? We got our hoodies on for Trayvon because it's unfair that you want to generalize and say, man, a black man with his hoodie on is a menace to society. That logic that's damaging. But just like there are bad cops, there's bad black people that like to wear hoodies. It's the go-to for the nighttime crimes, the B&E. That's the breaking and entering, right? The liquor store heist, the drive-by. It's in the starter kit, and so it's not pulled out of thin air, right? If you're walking down the street at night, me as a black man, I got a dude with a tuxedo on the left, and I have a man with a hoodie on and a mask on. He says it's for COVID-19, but he got a mask on. Like, I wonder which way I'm going. If it's at night, probably know where I'm going home. But you know what I mean? We have street smarts too. We make these kind of calls, and we don't enjoy generalizations. And neither do officers, neither do white people. Guess what? I'm still speaking to black folks right now. There's a lot of cool white people out there. There's way more cool white people than there is evil racist white people. So we need to be careful when we're shouting these things online with these generalizations. But it goes the other way. White people, I promise you, we not all bad. There's way more cool black people than some of the thugs that you see pretending in these music videos. I don't even think you knew this. Here's what's wild. A lot of them don't even really do the stuff that they're rapping about. It's just all pretend, because we unfortunately have a culture that idolizes that stuff. And unfortunately, we're not at the place yet as a community that we are willing to take the same amount of responsibility and accountability for our own actions as we are of that of people from another race. And that's not okay. And I'm going to talk about that more when we get to what I think the solution is here. But this is why I had a lot of pain around the situation, because I was getting messages from people that look up to me, young black men that are like, yo, Dion, how do you feel? And I would share how I feel. And they're like, you got to pick a side. It seems like you aren't for us. You're against us. And I was doing my best to just listen and try to understand where people are coming from. And we got something bad on our hands, and it's always been bad, right? This is nothing new, but we have a very emotional majority that is not taking the time to sit in that discomfort of thought. They're moving on their emotions, and we have a lot of leaders that are emotionally speaking up, and they're fueling that fire. Some of them, I believe, because it's what's popular, it gets likes, And I think we have way too many people settling with the easy answer. The easy answer is that I'm frustrated about what happened to a man that didn't have to die. And so in the sense of him needing to die, he was innocent. Okay? Whether it was the issue with the bad check or the counterfeit money or whatever, you know what I mean? Innocence on that, I'm not sure. Whatever it was, he didn't need to die. So in that sense, innocent. So I am now justified to go damage innocent business owners, businesses. I can riot and loot. That justifies me to do that. That's scary, man. That's scary. I think all of that is actually a disrespect to George Floyd. It's not helping anything. And again, I was really passionate about this, but I wanted to talk to people and do my best to understand. And so, again, I talked to a lot of people. And maybe, I don't like the violence, but maybe if you told me we were only going to hit the police stations, we're going to burn those down. Or you said we're going to storm the officer's house. That breaks my heart, but okay. I at least I see where you're going with it. There's no need to ransack Target. No, but Dion, they were protesting peacefully, but then the tear gas came and they ran in for milk and they were denied milk. So it's not about that, right? The violence isn't about the violence at that point isn't about what happened with the cop, right? You're mad because you couldn't get in, and you thought, okay, even if I give you all of that, that doesn't justify you to go in and take everything in the store. And so it's clear your motives aren't what you're claiming them to be. But maybe I give you that. For whatever reason, it's justified. You had to go get up in Target. Why are we breaking into H&M? Why are we hitting jewelry stores? Right? For some people, it's like, oh, it's the big corporations we got to get. And here's when I could tell people were just reaching for answers, right? Trying to justify, because they didn't really think about it. It was mindless. They were emotional. They felt unheard. They felt like enough wasn't being done. And I would agree with that. It's okay to feel that way. But sometimes we gotta be a little wiser, and we gotta spend some time in the discomfort of thought and work through some of this, because the easy answer may not be the best answer long term. I gotta tell myself this all the time. I am a horrible emotional eater. I'll be stressed out. I'm like, yo, where's the cheesecake at? That's an easy answer for me. Instead of sitting down, working through whatever I'm stressed about, right? Because maybe I messed up on something and I actually need to put in some extra time to actually fix this problem. Maybe I need to spend some time praying and worship. Maybe I need to exercise faith. All of these things are hard answers and they make us uncomfortable. And so sometimes I'll reach for that easy answer. Cheesecake just makes me feel better. And that's what we're seeing here. They're justified in their feelings and their emotions, and they want to get it out. And they feel like when I protest peacefully, it doesn't do enough, so I'm going to send a message. And I don't think people thought it through to know who they're actually sending the message to. The police station, even like the white supremacists of the world don't own all of these businesses. And it's unfortunate because you got a lot of people that have never been an entrepreneur, never ran a business, know nothing about it. And they're trying to connect these dots. And I get it because there's ignorance there. They've never done it, but they just believe that the white man owns every business. And although, you know, there might be some really interesting coincidences and weird things going on in all these Illuminati videos that you're watching, I promise you, the Illuminati doesn't own every business in America. A lot of these business owners were you and me at some point. And they've had to work hard to build these businesses. And you felt justified with them not, that they had no role to play in this. You thought it was okay because we want to send the message to the government. Why are you destroying the Target then, or the mom and pop businesses, right? Because some people said, oh, it's the corporations we got to get. The corporations are evil. They own America. They're not doing anything to help. Well, actually, they're doing a lot to help for your community. A lot, right? They're employing the people. They're employing your friends and family members who, by the way, don't have a job now, as you just burnt down where they work. And during a pandemic, they was already struggling, fearful of when the Trump checks gonna stop hitting, and you just snatched the job because you were angry. Is that the logic that we're going for? So, but then it was like, no, it's just the corporations. But then, okay, why are all these small businesses hit? Well, first it was just Target, and everyone had the justification for Target. Okay, why are these other places getting hit? Oh, because they're big corporations. Fluff what they do to the community, and fluff all this damage we're gonna do that's gonna come out of our tax dollars. Okay, but the small mom and pop shops get hit, the family-owned businesses, what's up with that? Well, they just got to be willing to sacrifice sometimes, you know? I even saw an article that was shared of like, I think a small business owner that was like trying to be real inspirational and saying like, well, let the walls of my place burn. I mean, cool. If that's what you want to do, you should have lit it on fire yourself then. Right? But we have to have mayhem. They have to hear that we're serious. So things just have to burn. Well, if that's the case, hold up. Everyone that was there had a house that they live at, right? Y'all should just go burn your own houses. That'd be way more places Because you got to think, sometimes there's 30, 40 people ransacking just one spot. Imagine how much, like the whole city would be in flames. Go home, burn your own stuff if your goal is mayhem. But we don't like that logic. Well, because then what am I going to do? Why am I going to burn my stuff down for what they did? Well, it's the same thing. You don't want to touch something that you own. You've never owned a business. And that's why you're okay with burning businesses and affecting other innocent people. That's going to have a huge ripple effect on these communities while we're already going into a pandemic. And it's this short-sighted thinking that is painful. That's what really bothers me. And so I want to get into the solution here in a little bit. I want to remind you guys of what our principle is from Mr. John F. Kennedy. Too often we enjoy the discomfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. We go for this low-hanging fruit, the easy answers in our life. And we have something here on this podcast that we call the creator frame. It's like our frame that we use to look through our life. It's like the lens for our life, but also a foundation. And it's an acronym of FREE, F-R-E-E. We have our faith, our relationships, our energy, and our economics. These are the 4 dimensions of this game that we call life. And I actually do look at life as a game, not in the sense that you don't take it serious. I'm a gamer at heart. There's a lot of games I take serious, way too serious. And then there's games that I play to win. For more background and intel on that, listen to the podcast, man. It's good. We talk about that often. But these are the 4 dimensions, and we have this acronym of FREE. And you'll notice that we actually start to feel the freedom in our life, and we feel free when we are in alignment and in balance with all of these 4 different dimensions. Our faith, our relationships, our energy, and our economics. Our faith is anything that's bigger than us. Anything that we live by or live for that's bigger than just us. For me, that's Jesus Christ. We have our relationships, that's with our relationship with ourselves and others. We have our energy, which is our health and our fitness. And then we have our economics, which is our money. And I think it's okay for us to look through these 4 different dimensions and ask ourselves, where am I settling for the easy answer? And I think that's my biggest problem here. That I can't say that, and people think that I'm okay. When I say that, a lot of people instantly think, well, you're okay with the murder of Mr. Floyd. Where did I say that? I'm saying I want accountability for that. But I also want accountability for the looting. But Dion, you don't understand. Martin Luther King said that riots are the language of the unheard. You're right. I'm with you. But understand why he said that. Again, he wasn't saying that to justify riots. He was against it. He was speaking to people that said, hey, and he was trying to say, yo, you can't only be mad about the riots. The riots aren't coming out of thin air. There's a legitimate problem. People are being mistreated. So if you're going to be mad about the riots, you got to be mad at what's starting the riots. But that also goes the other way. You can't be mad about what happened to Floyd, but not be mad at the riots. And we have people from both sides doing a little bit of deflecting because it's easier. There's no accountability when we have to think about, man, what can I do better? What are some other ways to look at this as a creator, not a victim that says, this is what you're doing to me and I'm angry and I'm going to shout about it until you fix it. One of a creator that says, hey, how can I be the change? What is the difference that I can make here? And now's a good time. Let's transition to my favorite part of the podcast. Every episode, we like to call putting some feet to it. As you can see, my man was running, man. He took the principle, but he wasn't willing to just settle on it. He didn't want to be motivated for a little bit, get emotionally inspired, and then just leave it there. He was actually trying to put it in action. And if you ask me, I think that's where the solution falls. Because I do have a lot of critiques and a lot of frustrations about how this situation was handled and how a lot of situations surrounding race and police brutality. I've been critical of a lot of people's approach towards it. And I'll probably remain critical. But And so people will often ask me, well, what's your answer, Dion? What is your solution to the problem? And I tell them, and a lot of people agree with it. It's just not easy. It's not the fun one. It requires us to come to grips with the fact that there's probably no quick answers. Right? We're not going to end racism this week. No matter what we burn. There's not like a racism headquarters. If we could just work our way down and burn it, we'd end racism. It's going to take a while, man. But it's also going to take us showing restraint in our emotions and thinking about things clearly. That's one of the things I've been really disappointed with as well, is just how people are not willing to see things from multiple angles and the whole thing, and how people are almost bullying people to say things, which made me want to think about my response a little bit longer. Is that people were almost saying that, like, you need to speak up, and you need to speak up now, and you need to speak up how I want you to speak up. Man, I got white friends getting bullied on social media to put like hashtag Black Lives Matters posts up. And for the people that are doing stuff like that, again, I can understand what you're thinking. And I have a lot of the same energy that there's something that needs to be done, and we're angry about it. But bullying your white friends to put out tweets doesn't do a whole lot. And that's not moving in truth if you made them do it. Now, I do like having conversations around, how we shouldn't be silent on certain issues, and how your silence can actually say something. And how it can almost, like, for example, I think the officers that were right next to my man with his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck need to have consequences. I don't know if they need to be equivalent. I don't even know if I'm interested in getting in that debate, but I think they need to be held accountable as well. We should speak up when we see something wrong. But it may not look like you want it to look like. And that's the beauty of this thing called life. We all come together, and we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and we're actually able to cover and mask those weaknesses when we come together as a whole. And we realize that, hey, my white friend Sally may not need to do a Twitter post and do 8 retweets like I'm doing. Right? I haven't done that, but I'm just saying, someone could be saying this. Maybe Sally isn't going to put anything on Twitter. Maybe she put it on Facebook. And that's what she wanted to do. Or guess what? Maybe Sally doesn't put anything on social media. That's okay. Sally doesn't need to turn her page into a Black Lives Matter page right now. If Sally likes to talk about cooking, Sally can continue to talk about cooking. It's okay. But maybe Sally wants to get involved in her community. Maybe Sally wants to make a donation. Maybe Sally is an artist and she's going to paint something. Maybe Sally is an author. This is going to inspire future book topics, and she's going to address it that way. That is okay. I'm really, really, really not a fan of the bullying that's going on and trying to make people speak up, and not only speak up how they want them to speak up, but when they want them to speak up. Okay? I don't know where these situations are going to go. I love and believe in peaceful protesting, right? I just might not, you guys probably won't ever see me at one. That might not be where I contribute. It depends. Who knows? Again, I don't know where this is going to go, and I'm super open-minded, and I don't know that I won't, ever do something like that. And I may not. I may stay at home and record my podcast episode and reach people that way. And I'm going to talk more about what we're doing here in a little bit. But I wanted to get this side rant in on the emotions and the bullying, and just understand everyone's going to process it a little bit different. Everyone's timing's going to be a little bit different. And a lot of people think that people that aren't speaking up immediately about the issue are moving in fear. I actually think they're moving in wisdom. You guys can't tell me there ain't been times where you was mad at someone, whether it was your girl, your kids, and you just need to take a woo-saw. You was like, if I react right now, y'all are not about to get the best version of me. Y'all are going to get the old me that I've been working on that I ain't seen in a decade. I ain't seen that side of me since 99. And you about to bring it back out, right? Sometimes you just got to woo-saw. That is wisdom. That is not weakness. That is not fear. And so, What is the solution, you ask? I think, again, it's a heart issue. We need to get to the heart of the matter. And it starts with, first, I believe, empathy and understanding. There's a lot of us that don't know what it's like to be other people. And our experiences really define how we look at the world. I remember growing up, I didn't really have crazy issues with racism, like as a youngster. And in high school, my family wanted to move to Surprise, Arizona. That was my first time being in a suburb like that. It was cool. I liked it. We got our first 2-story house. Like, I thought we were rich. It was like a small 2-story house, but for me, it was like a mansion. I thought it was cool. We ain't never had stairs before. And all the people were nice and friendly. Until I actually got into the high school, I realized there was this thing called skinheads. I didn't even know what a skinhead was until I moved to Arizona. And I started to see that, you want to talk about racist motherfluffers, god dang. And I would see how they would move and some of the things that they would blatantly do at school and how little teachers and staff would do to really do anything about it. And that shaped things a lot. But a lot of people have, sometimes you're white, you've never had a run-in with the skinheads. And it's a lot different when you see it and you experience it versus when you see it or you hear about it on TV or a video. And I'm not saying you can't begin to understand, because I think you can. That's where empathy and doing our best to understand is. But naturally, a lot of us have lived different lives. And some of the broke people here swear that things are horrible. They could use some perspective in seeing how other people are living in other countries. You don't have it bad as you think you have it, right? And there's still legitimate oppression that is worse than what we're dealing with as Black Americans other places in the world. And it's okay for us to put these things into perspective, and we don't use it to justify it, right? Just like we don't justify looting because it's not as bad, as I'm air quoting, as a murder, right? And so I think it starts with understanding and empathy and having legitimate conversations. And with that, we stop generalizing. We start to understand. It's not, hey, white guy kills black guy or white cop kills black cop. It always means the same thing. I've seen videos. I've seen instances where I'm like, man, what was the black guy thinking? It turns out he was unarmed. Okay, cool. Why are you running at cops and acting crazy like that after they just simply told you to stop? Get on the ground. Because you, not even a white cop, put me there as a black cop. I got a family I got to go to. We don't have the X-ray vision technology yet. We don't got our Iron Man suits, but when they do, that'll be great. Right? But don't present yourself as a threat. Don't do these things. And so I think nothing is black and white. It's okay for us to listen, understand, and treat every case. And this isn't just about police brutality. I'm talking just disagreements, frustrations, all of these things. Right? We're talking about this main thing. This is mainly about race and equality. We haven't even got started talking about women. Right? Women got it hard here, and we've come a long way. But boy, do we have a long way to go too. I think about that a lot, raising 3 daughters. And so we can apply this to everywhere, and you can apply it to your own life. Do your best to gather knowledge, understand why you feel the ways that you do. Try to understand the situation first. Okay? Don't generalize it. How your last situation that looked similar worked out, how it worked out last time might not be the way it's going to work out this time. What God did in one season for your life might not be the same thing he's trying to do in the next one. It might come from a different angle. So just treat every situation unique and do your best to understand it. We're going to stop generalizing. And then I think it comes in the form of accountability. But I really like self-accountability. I think that is the true answer. And that's the most that anyone can do that's listening to this podcast right now. I think it's great that black people hold white people accountable for the injustices that they may do on them. I love that. And vice versa is fine. I love that, But let's start holding ourselves and our own communities responsible. Some of the coolest stuff I've seen is other cops speaking out and denouncing what happened. That means a lot when people say that, okay, all cops aren't like this. When the cops are speaking out, and saying, yo, this is evil. That never should have happened, and I'm going to do my best to make sure it doesn't. I think it would have been amazing, right? That man puts his knee on his throat like that. Other cops are doing this thing, and he's like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I forget the dude's name. I'm not even that interested in even knowing the ninja's name, but let's say it was Billy. Like, Billy, what the fluff are you doing? Get your mother fluffing knee off his neck like that. You can't hear him? Right? Check the fluff out of Bully. Let that, Billy the bully. And let that go up the chain. Let him get some disciplinary action. And I heard he's had a history of it, right? Hold these guys accountable. And if it's a repeat issue, I'm very much okay with people learning and growing. We've all done it. No one likes to admit that, especially on social media. But some of us have been fluffed up and we've made major mistakes. But guess what? We learned from them. That's not the narrative online. The narrative is that people don't change. They don't grow. Well, that's not true. I promise you, you've changed and you've grown and you've matured and you've dropped the ball sometimes. But you learned your lesson and you got better for it. So let's hold Billy accountable. Hopefully he changes, right? Let's say he doesn't. Billy got to get out of there. That's the level of accountability that we have. Because then it falls on the leaders that allowed him to even be in the position to do that. So accountability within the police just needs to be better. And black folks are millie rocking and cheering and they're like, yeah, man, preach it. Well, hold up. I need to bring the beat back so I can drop it. We hype. You like, yeah, man, black power, the white man trying to keep us down. The police, the pigs, they need to hold themselves accountable. Well, hold up, boo-boo. So do you. So do I. I really, 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 really struggle if you are passionate about police brutality or just white people in general killing the black man, when statistically we have more black men killing black men. We killing ourselves more at a faster rate. And if you want to talk to me what's really the problem is, I think police brutality is a horrible problem, again, an evil problem. It exists. We need to do better there. But it's not our biggest problem. And it's really not even close. The bigger problem is the black on black violence. But we don't like accountability. We don't like that. And so it's no. The difference, Dion, is that when a black man kills another black man, he's locked up. He does the time. But the white man does it or the cop does it and he doesn't get the time. And I think you would be right. That is a true statement. But why, if you don't mind me asking, why are we conveniently drawing the line at the imprisonment? Why aren't we drawing the line at the death level? So you're telling me, fluff it, these cops can keep killing us. Shoot, they could even kill us more. I just need them all to get locked up. So you're okay now. You're okay what happened to George Floyd now that the officer is arrested. Let's say the officer gets the death penalty, right? Would that make you happy? Let's say they brought in a new law. They were like, yo, we going to cut them up into tiny little pieces, inch by inch, feed them to piranhas. Some ain't never been done. Is that justice for you? Like, you're happy now? So it's okay. They can keep killing us. They just got to go to jail for it. Why are we drawing the line there? How about we draw the line and say, hey, let's not even let the death happen. Let's prevent it. Right? Because getting locked up in our own communities isn't preventing it. That's what I'm trying to help you understand. These things that are there, it's a heart issue. It's not an issue with a law needing to be passed. And again, all that stuff is fine, but that's all that is surface level. You need to care just as much as that the people in your community are killing each other and then making songs about it and glorifying it, and you're dancing to it and downloading it and spinning it and sharing it on social media. And our women are designed to be being in the music videos with their clothes off. Well, why they want to take their clothes off? Because that's when they get attention from you. That's when they feel desired. That's when they feel like queens. When they're objectifying themselves. And it fits your purpose. So I think the accountability starts there in the black community. It's saying, hey, let's have these new codes. Instead of stuff like bros over hoes and stop snitching, let's have codes that require men to be in the household, to be holding it down instead of being locked up, instead of being on the block. Let's don't pretend to be something in music videos, right? Let's don't glorify a hood or a gang lifestyle. Let's don't glorify fighting and shooting and hurting people over geography or colors. Let's have higher standards for our women, for our children. And this is the ripple effect that actually changes situations. I can't tell you how many young men I've had conversations with. And once we actually begin to talk and they're understood first, and then you offer them different alternatives and different ways of looking at things, they're able to accept it. Some of these men, I know youngsters that were actually out there trying to loot, trying to riot. And then after a simple conversation, they're able to see the foolishness in that. And they're able to attempt to try to do better next time and to move forward with a different mindset. But no one's out there offering them. I'm so unprofessional. My phone done rang twice during the podcast. God dang. You would have thought I would have muted it the first time. That's wild. But they've just never been given that opportunity. Some of these queens out there would love to move differently. No one's offering them this other alternative. And it's not coming from our own community, at least not like it needs to, because there's not the same level of accountability. I can't tell you how many black folks have been mad at me because I want to talk about black on black crimes just as much as I want to talk, if not more than I want to talk about white cops killing us, as if they both can't be problems. That's what I'm saying. They're both problems. And if we're looking at, if we and again, this is discomfort of thought. It's not fun because let's say we draw the line at the death and not just them being locked up. We have way more to be rioting already. Why are we rioting about that? And if you're really frustrated about you believe that there's white oppression, why should we be divided? Shouldn't we come together first, get our issues figured out before we're trying to fix that? How are we going to win that fight when we're divided, when we're killing ourselves? And I 100% acknowledge the people. There's a lot of people doing a lot of good things in that area. But please be real here. We know for a fact they are the minority. The brainwashed majority is moving off the easy answers. They're enjoying the comfort of their opinion. And they're just going to sit there because it's easy, it's comfortable. And so I think the solution looks like, you know what? How can I be the best son, the best example, the best father? How can I be the best son? But how can I be the best example for my son? How can I be a better father? How can I instill values, right? That's going to move forward with love and peace. And this is coming from a black man and a white man. I would much rather, if I had to pick white people, you could keep your tweets. You don't got to show up to a single march, right? You don't have to start listening to Kendrick Lamar, and you don't got to get cornrows. All you got to do is see what's going on, right? And make sure that there's conversations in your household and you be the example for your kids of love, of peace, right? Don't show them any of that evil, any of that racism. Be that example. And imagine if everyone did that. But that's not easy. That hurts. And I'll be vulnerable. That's what's uncomfortable for me. I used to be the king, and actually I think I still am, the king of, man, I love that song. It's talking about the most ratchet, wild, dumbest stuff, but that beat is stupid. I love that beat, right? I don't listen to as much music right now. I'm big on like podcasts and courses and stuff like that. So I can't remember anything off the top, but like some of the most gully hood songs would be my jam, right? I love it, the beat. And so it gets harder when we say, man, okay, I really want to make a difference. I do. But I might have to do more than put some tweets out. I might actually have to stop supporting these artists that I grew up on, that I've been listening to years, but the message that they're putting into these kids that are on repeat in their ears is about violence, is about pride, is about all types of sexual dysfunction and promiscuity and all of these things that aren't going to serve them or their community for the best. It's not lifting our women up or our men. It's encouraging violence. It's glorifying it, all of that stuff. Whether they're actually going out and doing it or not, this is the culture. And a lot of people are brainwashed by it. And so I might have to change my playlist. Some of my favorite songs and favorite artists might have to stop being supported. Maybe I can't go to the concert and have as much fun. These are hard answers. They're difficult answers to find, and we don't like those. Right? Some of us have to start being the example, being that we talked about in the intro of the podcast, being the difference. Some of us have to go out and be the difference. And that's way, way, way harder than a tweet. And that's why so many other people are picking the other option. It's easy to just be mad and just move off of your emotions. That's why people are doing it. It's hard to be just as mad, if not more angry than they are, but still move in love. It takes time. You don't get no a lot of them got like a release. They just felt better getting that anger out. What if you don't get to do that? What if it's harder? And you're saying, no, I can't hold it. I just have to. Yeah, that's what you're saying. But what about the person that feels the same way? But they didn't. They took the harder route. It's no different, people, than the analogy I gave about me and the cheesecake. Or you're trying to lose weight, right? There's a lot of short-term options, but the best options are a little bit more difficult. They involve you putting a few more vegetables on your plate. Involve you getting your cardio up, going to the gym, making better decisions. And guess what? The weight might not fall off in a week. It won't be overnight. But if you want to get it off and keep it off, some of the solutions might be a little bit long-term. And that's the same here. Unfortunately, I do believe there's some people that are so far gone. We couldn't burn enough buildings to remove their racism. We might have to get their kids. And by getting them, I mean is we might have to give them some alternatives, give them some different ways of looking at things, get some love into their heart, plant some seeds, and give those seeds time to grow. I wish we had the Men in Black thing, where you just wipe their memory. We could roll up on racists, be like, blood ow, and then just hand them like a bucket of chicken and have them watch Fresh Prince and like, see, black people are cool, man. Like unfortunately, we can't do that. Maybe Elon's working on something cool. If Mr. Musk comes up with something, I'm cool. I'll adopt that. But until then, maybe we got to put some work in, right? And personally, that's where my fight has been for years. This is nothing new to me. I'm not out there trying to reach the people now. I've been doing it for almost 10 years now. As we build these communities, man, we reach out to the youth, but not just the youth. You know what I mean? I'm trying to reach everybody and give them another alternative, another way of looking at things. Letting them realize that there's better ways to think about situations. And just engage with them. And I want to continue to grow this thing. We have huge gaming channels and we get a lot of people in there. And we're able to start the conversation. Just like a lot of this evil that's built up in their heart, it starts with their favorite music or their favorite artist that they're following in these conversations. And then they just over time, right? This slow drip of a brainwashing just builds up so many damaging thoughts. And so I think we need to reverse that. And we all need to hold each other accountable. And over time, we're going to see the difference. And I know a lot of you do not like that. But I promise you, keep burning stuff. And then when the smoke clears, you're going to be like, oh, dang, there's still evil. There's still racism. There's still this and that. Again, I'm with you on the need to do something. We just differ on how we might want to go about it. I'm a lot more interested in lasting change. I'm a lot more interested in love and justice. And I don't think we're going to get that acting crazy and acting emotional. And so my call to action for everyone would be simple. Let me get the beat on so I can start my dissent. My call to action would be let's start with empathy and understanding. Of course, in this situation, but I want you to remember the principle and use this in all areas of your life. Remember that too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. It's okay to feel however you want to feel about anything in your life. Our thoughts are crazy, man. I want you to get good at stopping and pausing and maybe looking for the answer that might not be as easy. Right? Sometimes the sum total of our life is going to be the answers that we came up with. Are you gonna take the cheesecake? Right? Or are you gonna suffer, be patient, maybe get the broccoli? What is that going to look like over time? What is it gonna look like for your kids and their kids? That's where I think it is, man. I think it's us getting in, building connections, or in relationships, and loving each other and holding each other accountable. I'm sorry. That's not a fun one. We can't vote on it and it fixes it overnight. But it's powerful. It's been proven. It's worked for years. And it's got us to where we're at. I want us to have the ability to think for ourselves, not just believe everything that's thrown on a TV screen or your timeline. Black people, there's reason to be concerned, 100%. But there's never, ever, ever been a better time to be a black person in America. There's never been a better time for you to be heard. Now, it needs to get better. I'm with you on that, yeah. But it's never been a better time. It's never been safer for you to go outside. It's crazy. You think things are bad now. It was a lot worse. Your parents had it worse. Their parents had it worse. We're progressing, and it's okay to notice that. It's okay to say, hey, we've come a long way, and be proud of that and continue to push that on as a family of creators, but understand that there's still a long way to go. There's so many over emotional posts about people that I know, people that I love and respect, that are like, oh, I just don't know how I'm going to tell my son that they're growing up in a world that just hates them and despises them. Those people do exist. They do. That's not the majority anymore. We don't need to play the victim. We don't need to. We can 100. Things can be serious, very, very, and we take them very, very serious, without us overkilling the situation. Right? I know some amazing cops. I don't want to get back on my emotional rant. Trying to practice what I preach here. Because it's frustrating when we have a lot of people over sensationalizing things, and they're just making it seem like it's worse than it is. Black folks, we have a lot of power, and we can do a lot of things right now. I think it's amazing. I've seen the protests. I saw some cool videos of like white people standing in front of the black people during the protests, and like, those are powerful messages. Heck yeah. I love that stuff. Right? But some folks are acting like they going outside and they just getting shot by the first white person they see. Stop it. Please stop it. And I get where it's coming from. You're emotional. But I just wish you were the same emotional about the stuff around you. And that's what this is all about. I'm talking to the cops. I'm talking to the white people. I'm talking to the black people. I'm not picking on anyone. I think myself as an individual, I got work to do. You got work to do, and we all need to come together and be the difference. Ooh, that was slick. That's like, have you heard it? If you not new, you know the intro. That's what I say. I didn't even plan that. Ooh, come together and let's be the difference in our own unique way. We can't do it separately. I can't put this on my back. Obama can't put this on his back. Your mama can't put this on his back. No president can put this on their back. We all have a role to play. And it's the sum of us coming together that truly, truly, truly makes a difference. You want to know more about what we believe as a family of creators, you can go to freecreatorcode.com. It's absolutely free, and it'll walk you through. You'll get a free printout, free training that'll show you what we believe as a core, as a family of creators. And I really think it has the power to change your life. Man, I do hate that this was so long, but for those that cared to listen, I hope it blessed you. If it did, let your boy know. If you enjoyed it, please drop the 5-star review on whatever app that you're listening to. Leave a comment. Those comments really bless my day. You can reach out to your boy on Twitter, at Dion Does. Facebook, Instagram, the same thing, at Dion Does. And then once again, freecreatorcode.com. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Please, if you tap into this identity as a creator, It'll make all the difference. I love you guys. Stay safe. Again, I'm going to let this breathe for maybe up to a week, and then we'll be back to daily episodes. If you're brand new, check out some of the old ones. I love you guys. Until next time, God first. God bless.